Now, if you've been watching and reading shonen anime and manga enough, then you kind of know what Shonen Jump in particular likes to fit their mold into. They have a certain mold of what type of series they put into their magazine. Now, obviously, they all have their own premise and things of that nature, but something that I've noticed and I've seen time and time again, which is kind of annoying, at the same time it's cool for the character, but ultimately it's like, you need a breath of fresh air. You can't always do the same thing because then eventually it gets stale and the idea or the mold gets stale as well. And that's that every main character of a shonen series does not need to be or shouldn't be a Goku clone, or like Goku for that matter, because that is Shonen Jump what they like to do. They like to make the kind of Goku style of silly, likes food, likes to fight, or likes to be on their mission, whatever it may be, and it's kind of always that same mold. Luffy is very similar. Obviously, Luffy has his distinct differences, and Luffy is a lot more Luffier or goofy than Goku is, but nonetheless, that's the mold that they have. Like Naruto, he's kind of, pure of heart, a ditzy kid, and, they continue that same path. Now, obviously, there's some characters that do it differently, and I'm kind of wishing that they would do it like that more often. Like you go to Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke Urameshi, he was different. He broke the mold. He was kind of a street punk, didn't give a fuck. He would tell you go fuck yourself. Yusuke Urameshi was a breakaway from the typical pattern. But obviously, Yu Yu Hakusho eventually, due to Yoshihiro Togashi's health problems and mental status, it was kind of like, okay, it ended or whatever. He came back. Gon started off similar to like Goku, kind of like ditzy, wanted an adventure, things of that nature. The difference is, which is what I love about Yoshihiro Togashi, is he took a concept as simple as Goku, because Goku is a simple concept, again, as I described, simple, ditzy, whatever the case may be, but he added on development for Gon. And that's one thing that's an exception to the rule. But a lot of the times, and this goes back to even a story that has been spread out throughout the anime community for a long time, is Attack on Titan, for example. That's with Kodansha, that's with a totally different magazine. But the funny thing is, there's a story out there, which honestly I'll still say it's rumor until it's 100% confirmed. It might be 100% confirmed, I don't know for sure. But I do know that I've heard for many, many years now that Attack on Titan was initially in 2009, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe earlier than that, pitched to Shonen Jump. He pitched it to them. He was like, yo, this is my idea. I want to make this a series. It'd be awesome. He showed them. I believe he had a one shot of it at the time that he showed to them. And the problem with Attack on Titan, why it never ended up on Jump and eventually he pitched it somewhere else, was they wanted to change the main character, Eren, to be more like Goku. They wanted him to be hungry. They wanted him to be silly, goofy, kind of like Luffy and Goku and shit like that. And from what I heard, again, we're going to just keep this as rumor, but a lot of people know of this rumor. Isayama was like, no. Isayama was like, I'm good. And, the changes that they wanted to make were ridiculous because, again, Attack on Titan is kind of, in a way, a survival horror series. You got these monsters and everything. How are you going to have the main character being, I don't give a fuck, let's fight, when he's seeing his mother being crushed to death and shit like that? It's a more serious tone. The whole making every character like Goku just didn't fit with that series, and again, shouldn't be applied to every series either, but I still notice it till this day that they add that to a lot of different series. Now, granted, I like that a lot of authors are taking a cue from Yoshihiro Togashi, throwing in the Goku slash Luffy type of, concept into their character, because the main character of Promised Neverland, for example, the female, she's pretty much like them, nice, pure of heart, blah, 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 blah. But they're taking a cue from like what Togashi did with Gon, and little by little they're developing and unraveling that there's more to them than meets the eye. And I really wish that at the very least, if Shonen Jump is going to continue bottlenecking the shonen genre in their, particular magazine, that a lot of authors would take cues from that. Okay, you want to make the same concept, which again, shouldn't really be the case. You should have a diversity of characters, not just always have your main lead be Son Goku. Because Son Goku, amazing character, love him. He started something which maybe was out there before him, but he definitely popularized the whole concept of being silly, pure of heart, hungry, liking to fight, etc., etc. But that shouldn't be the case. It's been 30 years since Dragon Ball, over 30 years since Dragon Ball debut. A little bit of diversity changes things up. Like, as much as people shit on the main character of Bleach, and this isn't me giving him any praise or anything like that, but at the very least, you can say Ichigo Kurosaki, he was different. I mean, granted, you could say that he was kind of being a little bit inspired from Yusuke Urameshi, But Ichigo Kurosaki, he was not dim-witted. I mean, I guess he was dim-witted towards the ladies, but he was kind of like just a normal average teen. And again, that's fine. You don't need to make every single shonen main character. And it even got inspired down to other characters like Natsu Drag Neo from Fairy Tail. That's not even in Shonen Jump. And that's still modeling off of the silly, like to eat. And it shouldn't be the case. Because when you continue on using the same model and the same concept, because Shonen Jump's motto in general is, for their manga, they like to have effort, victory, and friendship. Those are some of the big deals. I think it's something a little bit, synonyms of it, but it's a variation of that. That's what they like to have their manga with. And if you're going to use that concept, on top of that, using the same model of you got to have the Goku, and it's like, it's a tiresome thing, and it eventually gets to the point where it's like, that could potentially be why Shonen Jump isn't popping like they used to be. I mean, they still have some big series, don't get it twisted. One Piece, one of the greatest and most selling series of all time, but newer series, they can't just continue on with the same pattern of, we need Son Goku, we need a main character that's silly, because it's not going to work and it gets really tiring. And a lot of people at this point are growing out of that stage. They want something different. That's probably a big reason why the whole edgy trend of having like those Ken Kaneki characters started, because people were tired of the same formula, of the same good-hearted guy, which we love Dragon Ball, we love One Piece, we love Naruto, we love those characters. But we're in 2017, and I think it's fine, and it's okay to change, and, innovation is a great thing. It could lead to some great and amazing stories if Shonen Jump stops the same formula that they continue to stick with. Now, I'm not going to say entirely that this is the reason why other genres in general are starting to become more mainstream. I think a lot of that has to do with the audience growing up already and wanting something a little bit edgier or mature, whatever you want to call it. But I definitely think that's had a severe impact on things, is that when you get older, you look back and you're like, okay, I love this for what it was, and I still love this for what it is. Dragon Ball Super continuing, like I mentioned beforehand, One Piece, etc., etc. But they see that, and they're like, well, that kind of doesn't fit me anymore. I want something a little bit, more complex, so to speak, which there's nothing wrong with enjoying both. Personally, I love both. I can read a volume of Vagabond or Berserk or whatever the case may be, and then I can read my One Piece and my Naruto. Not that One Piece isn't, because One Piece is a little bit of an exception to the rule, but nevertheless, I can read both. But the thing is, some people, they're like, I've had enough of that. I want something different. And that's a lot, again, due to the fact that Shonen Jump refuses. Kind of like, if you think of it in a way, if you're like into video games, think of Nintendo, for example. I think Toei is perfectly, symmetrically, the anime studio version of Nintendo, where they might change some things. They might try their best to get hip to the times, but some things they refuse to change. And again, look at some of the latest series that are blowing up in Shonen Jump. While I love them and I think they're awesome and they are trying different things, they still stick with some similar aspects. And that's the whole, they gotta be like Goku. They gotta have that similar formula. They gotta have the Goku. They gotta have the Vegeta, Hiei. They gotta have that same formula. And I think over time, it's slowly starting to show people don't want that anymore. I think they want it for what has already been established. They want it for what was already set forth with One Piece and Dragon Ball, etc., etc. But in the new day and age, they want something different. They want that tragedy, like even in the United States, Akame got killed, whatever you want to say about it, you hate it, you love it, whatever, different opinions. They liked that because it was something a little bit different, a different formula. Likewise with Tokyo Ghoul. Likewise with, Parasite. Parasite, even though it's a manga from the 90s, it was totally different because it was from the seinen genre, nothing to do with Shonen Jump. And look what happened. People are really gravitating towards that. Not only, I believe, definitely a big part of it is people growing up and wanting something different, but it's because the shonen genre refuses, especially Shonen Jump, to change certain aspects. And I think, like, if you even look at some of my Dragon Ball reviews, some of the things I gravitated towards recently was when Goku was, like, paranoid and a little bit different of a character with Hit coming. And it's not that I don't like Goku as his normal state, but I do like to see change and development and growth, and that's something that I feel as a whole Shonen Jump needs to work on, is like, you need to change it up a little bit. I'm curious what you guys think about this topic. Have you noticed it with a lot of main characters, how it's constantly using some of the basic elements that Dragon Ball set forth with their main character? Do you think that they purposely do it? Do you think it's just something that happens? I think a lot of it has to do from the top down. By the time you get to the editorial staff, I think they already go and they're like, they look at the manga, whatever is presented, and they're like, whoa, we need to change this up. Like, take, for example, Hungry Joker. It was like the main character didn't switch up, didn't become like any of the, formula I mentioned beforehand, and it got canceled. Shonen Jump didn't like it, and they got rid of it. And that's probably why they continue to stick to that pattern as well, is that sometimes when they don't use the same formula, the same nostalgia, which is what I think they're living off as well, it fails. And your overall thoughts of this conversation, just wanted to bring this forth. This has been something that kind of I've been thinking about for a while. It's like, everybody doesn't need to have their main character as Goku. Every series doesn't need that. Every series doesn't need the Luffy, the silliness, it gets old after a while. We already have that for those series. Dragon Ball Super's still going. We have the spin-offs of Naruto. We still got One Piece. It's like, try something different. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm Finna World, and as always, people, have an awesome day.